Started here. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining our People Success Platform demo. My name is Tricia Grady, and I'm excited to be doing this demonstration today, as we are going to address the 5 key challenges that you may be faced with on a daily, weekly, or quarterly basis. So here at Hello Team, we understand that HR leaders, like yourselves, are tasked with creating effective people and culture programs that really support the organizational vision, strategy, and objectives, with the goal of building a positive and motivated team. You are constantly keeping a pulse on the employee culture and overseeing the people success efforts. So I'd say it's a role that we can all agree carries a lot of responsibility. So what I'm going to do today is address the 5 main modern workforce challenges that we see with our customers. So the first one being providing a positive experience across remote teams. Retaining top talent in an industry today, which is currently facing the lowest average tenures, really starts with providing a consistent and a welcoming experience for your employees from day one, regardless of their location. You need to have a thoughtfully designed plan on how to effectively onboard and integrate each new employee into the culture and organization. People that have an amazing employee experience, they really tend to share on social media and other platforms and essentially, honestly, become your brand ambassadors, making it easier for you to attract new employees with top talent and grow your business. So to do this, you need to foster the relationship at work authentically and organically. Secondly, boosting employee engagement and culture participation. Keeping a pulse on the happiness level and challenges that your employees may be experiencing by designing a series of survey questions and then measuring the responses over time. So your organization really is only as good as the happiest employee. Number 3, maintaining a routine structure for employee recognition. People want to have a purpose and they want to feel valued at work. So the number 1 reason why people leave is because they don't feel appreciated. So having engaging programs like our high fives, where people can thank each other socially and visibly, attributes to a higher retention rate and makes your employees sticky within your organization and really less prone to leaving. Number 4, employees, they expect that they will receive coaching and frequent performance feedback. So this means that HR really needs to be able to set up a flexible and customizable way to collect and report on that feedback across your entire organization. And then finally, number 5, having on-demand insights. Chief people officers and HR is a part now of the executive suite. And as such, they need to be able to have information regarding hiring and retention at their fingertips. You can no longer afford to really rely on those spreadsheets from Excel, or, they're just really not dynamic enough to respond to the constant changes of your business. You're really going to need that system of record that will keep this information accurate and synced throughout your entire organization. So being able to be strategic and proactive around how you're hiring and retaining your employees, it needs to be on demand and you need to have that data. So we'll touch on all 5 of these points today. And what we've done here at Hello Team is that we can assure that you will have the necessary tools to make sure that your organization is an engaging place to work, one in which your employees see potential for personal and career growth, they have a healthy work-life balance, and a network of people that really will support them in reaching their career aspirations. So that's why we've created the 5 pillars of employee engagement and talent management to really allow you to get a jump start on promoting that vibrant workplace culture that your employees deserve. We really believe that great teams really build great companies. So what I'm going to do is jump into the demo, but after the demo, feel free, please get in touch with us if you'd like to take a deeper dive into any of the functionality that may be of interest to you, and we can set up a custom one-on-one. So without further ado, I'll jump in. If you have questions, please send them over through the Q&A option on Zoom meetings, and I'll try to get to them either at the end, and if we run out of time, I will follow up with you personally. So everybody should be able to see my dashboard view. Right now, you can see that I'm logging into our demo organization. This in your organization would look similar to your company name.helloteam.com. Right now, I am logged into Ariana. She is the Chief People Officer here in this demo environment. And you can see when I'm logging in, I'm going to be seeing this dashboard view. This would really be the communication and social intranet, if you will. of your system. So in this dashboard, it's going to highlight new employees, birthdays, work anniversaries, and then on the move, which would be our internal promotions. These 3 sections here in itself really helps you as the admin cut down on the number of emails that you need to send out, as well as stop cluttering your employees' inbox with a bunch of different information when it can all be hosted in one spot. In the center here, we have our high five activity, which would be our peer-to-peer recognition. So this is going to be that ongoing newsfeed for your employees when they're logging into the system to be able to see who is giving and receiving high fives. And I'll dive into this a little bit further later on in the demo, but it's very easy to do. You can go in, thanks for your help today. You can select a teammate that you would like to give that high five to. And now that person has shown up here on the newsfeed, has received a notification via the system, and then has also received a notification via email, which I will show you what that looks like in a second. So there's a few different ways that everybody will be active as well as included to join the system. So scrolling down here, we also have performance reviews and open surveys. So when I'm logging in and I see this dashboard, if there were any open, which there are today, surveys or performance reviews, I'm able to click do review or take survey, and the system's automatically going to redirect you to take the appropriate thing that you've clicked on. On the right-hand side here, we have a news as well as an events section. I've seen this used by customers in a variety of different ways. You can go in and create a different event. You can use this to consolidate if you have something that goes out on a weekly newsletter or a blog post that you've recently posted that you want to publish out to the team. You can put the title here, the information. You can add some images or a video. And then this is where you can customize the system. So I can decide if I want to publish this and when I want to publish it and who I'd like to publish it to. So what we've done is we've also added a section, and I'll touch on this as well, but we have what we call teams. And this allows you, when you go into the system, you can create certain groups of individuals and then have them named in certain ways that make sense to you outside of departments. You can also go into departments. So let's say we're publishing something and we just want the marketing team to have access or view into this event. So then once I save that, they would then be the individuals who would be seeing that information, or you can publish it out to the entire company. If I wanted to click on these, once you click, you can learn more about whatever the information was for that news. And then same thing, very similar with the events. So if this was the first time that I was looking at today's demonstration, I could actually go in and select join. So the person that has created this event can then track how many people are going to be attending. Same thing down here with this team lunch. If I wanted to and I decided I wanted to leave that, I can click leave and then join it again. But the way that you would go in and create an event is very similar to how you would create that news article. You're going to put the title, the start and end date. You can add the location as well as Google Maps, and then some information. Same thing down here on when you'd like to publish it and who you would like to publish it to. So that's the overview on the dashboard. Moving along here, from the dashboard, I'm going to jump into our profile. So once you're invited into the system, every employee has access to create their own profile. The information that you see here at the top is now recorded based off of the CSV import that we would do, and I will show you how we import data in a second. It's going to highlight the number of high fives that this specific individual has received. You could go and actually generate the profile, and then badges, which again, I'll touch on that in a second. Moving along, you'd be able to see that you can include a summary about yourself. We have a skills and languages, hobby, and interests. So this skills and languages is very easy to do. If I wanted to add a skill, I could just, let's use test here. And that's now listed as one of my skills. If there was a certain project that opened up or a specific use case, and maybe you needed somebody that had a specific skill, you could go into our skills match. And on the skills match, you're able to go in and let's say we needed somebody that had .NET listed as a skill. So if I was to click on .NET here, it's going to filter through all of the employees within your organization. In this case, because it's the demo environment, we don't have that many skills listed out, but you can see that it's pulling up that both Ariana and James have that listed. If you had multiple pages of entries that populated, you could then break it down by location, position, and department. And then from there, you're going to have direct access to their email. Going back to the profile here, if I scroll down, you're going to be able to learn about this individual. There's a past, present, and future bar. So you're going to be able to see all of their past experience, their education, what their current responsibilities are, and then the individual high fives that this exact person has received and who they've received it from. There's the current goals showing, and then we have positions I'm interested in, skills, training, and conferences I'd like to have. I think this is very valuable information. Positions I'm interested in, this is a good way, one, for the managers to have visibility into this, but then there's also a way for you as the admin to be able to see all of the positions that have been listed and who is actually interested in them. So if maybe something has opened up internally and you want to search through, look maybe for career progression for some employees, you can see who has that listed. Same thing down here with skills and trainings and conferences. Again, from a manager's perspective, I personally would want to look at this, maybe on a quarterly, monthly, depending on timing, how often somebody's updating this. But it's a good indication if maybe you need to host a training or actually attend a specific conference. So then there's also at the top here, we have a section for goals, which I just showed you a view from the profile, but I like this view a little bit better. So what you can do is select add goal, and these are all an individual goal basis. So I'm just going to do test here. I'm going to do the deadline. All this is extremely customizable, and I'm going to select for the end of the month. You can select this to be public or private. If you were to select private, it is still visible to the admin as well as to your manager. But for the demo purpose, I'm going to keep it at public. And then in this comment section, you can put an unlimited number of things in this that makes sense to go with the summary. So I'm going to save that here, and you can see that that now shows up. If I was to start progressing towards completing this goal, I'm just going to log into the system and slide this bar over. Once I hit the deadline of November 30th, it is then going to move over to past goals. And the system, you can see here, collects all of your goals throughout the entire year. So this is going to be really good information, not only for yourself to track what you've completed, but then you can click on this My Team view. And based on the CSV import, or the integration of all of your employees' data, you're able to see through the system building out an org chart, which I'll show, but this My Team view. So again, we're logged in as Ariana, and I can see that Beth and Sharon both report to Ariana. So what I'm able to do is, let's say I want to look into Beth's goals. I can then break it down based on a certain time frame, and I can leave an overall comment, or I can make comments on an individual goal basis. All of these comments that the manager would be making towards Beth or any other employee would not be visible to the employee. So if this is linked to some type of incentive or bonus, however you want to track this information, it's going to be available to you in the system. And you can actually go in, save this as a CSV, or save it as a PNG, and then same thing when I was just on that previous view. You can also break this down a little bit further to see that Sam reports to Sharon and so forth. So all this is going to be visible to you based on that org chart. So I'm going to jump into the org chart now. Again, the org chart is automatically built out for you. This is the view for any employee within the system. I always like to say, if this was my first week on the job and this was a part of the onboarding process for me to go in, log into the system, fill out my profile, this is a great way for employees to be able to go in, see how the organization is broken out, learn about individuals on their team, put a face to the name, and so forth. So I could actually click here. If I wanted to learn a little bit more about a certain employee, I could just go right here, select more details, and it's going to open up their profile. So going back to the org chart here, you could also give somebody a high five directly within the system, or you can also see how many people report underneath of Alicia, which would be the 5. I'm going to jump into the reports here, and I'm going to jump down to the high five since we've been talking about that. So that's our peer-to-peer recognition, as I had mentioned. So what you can see at the top here is you can look at the view for both reports, which there are 2, how many high fives have been received, as well as how many high fives have been given. So if I wanted to filter this, I can look at the entire company, or I could break it down and it's going to update based on department. Because we're in a demo environment, there's not a bunch of information, so I'm going to keep it at the entire company as well as any employment type, but you could always break this down. What I've seen my customers do is on a quarterly basis, so they'll update both of these reports to say for this quarter, and they'll scroll down here, same thing for this quarter. And you can go in, I've seen them take the top 5, top 10, depending on how many employees that you have, and reward their employees with our badges. So what you could do, and there's 2 ways that you can do this. I'm going to show you it if this was the first time that we were looking at badges. So what you would do in the system is browse our badges. Out of the box, we provide you with about 20 different badges. So what you could do is select, which badges you would like to use and offer to your employees. I'm going to go back to the badges because we've already selected all of them here. Let's say I wanted to assign somebody calmer of storms. I can then go in, scroll through all of my employees, and let's say we want to now assign this to Anthony. I'm now having Anthony receive this. It's not only going to show up on his profile, but he will receive a notification via the system. So it's very easy to do. They're also customizable, so I could go in and change the name and description, and if you wanted to make it a little bit more custom to your current culture. Same thing here with the high fives. You can actually go in and customize the name if you wanted to change it. One of our customers went in and changed this to a good egg because it made sense. You can go in and change, how many high fives are allowed to be given and received, and then for what period of time. For the My Team view from a manager's perspective, they can also give out badges, and it's very easy to do. I could just select here and say I want to give Beth a certain badge. I can see which badges she's already received. Let's say she's just closed a key win customer. So I'm now going to assign her that. If I actually click on Beth's profile here, you can see it's something that your employees really start to collect. I've definitely seen it as a motivating factor for sure. Most of our customers were giving out either pins or some type of external reward, where now everything's hosted within the system. The other thing that I've seen done is not only using this news section for any type of upcoming news or things that you want to publish, but actually using this for the all hands meeting. So I've seen them go and create an event, list out the top people in both categories for the high fives, because clearly those individuals are active, they're working well with their peers, they should be rewarded with some type of badge and acknowledged. So they list them out here, and then it's displayed for all of the employees to see. The next piece that I'm going to jump into, as you can see, we have a bunch of different reports and dashboards. So we have it around hiring, retention, turnover, and tenure. So I'm going to click into hiring here. And you can see all this information. It's all done on the back end for you. Again, you can go in, select the entire company, or I could go in and break it down by specific department. So I'm going to keep it up the entire company. It's constantly going to give you that up-to-date headcount, new hires, and then the department with the most hires. All these reports, you can slice and dice the information. So if I wanted to, there's department by year, I could look at, and the one report that I really like is departures versus hiring. So let's look at, let's just do the last 3 years here. So this information and all of the reports are really going to tell you a story. So I can see here, maybe in August we hired 11 people, but we also lost 6 people. So you're going to have all this information, and you can actually go in and save it as a PNG. And I apologize, I'm not sharing my entire screen. So if I pull this up, I'm not 100% if you guys will be able to see it. If not, I can always send you guys a follow-up email with a few reports exported. But there's a variety of different reports within the system. Again, they're very customizable, headcount by location and department. So I'm going to scroll through here just because of timing. I'm going to jump into retention just to give you a quick overview here as well. Again, on all these reports at the top, you can go in and change this. You can save it as a PNG, and it's going to give you an overview of all of the reports here. So again, all this information is automatically populated for you. There's a variety of different reports. You can slice and dice all of this information. You can see where you have retention in all the different departments and categories by location. Again, all this information is really going to tell you a story. Scrolling back up here, go to turnover. You're able to see the highest turnover, the departments with the lowest, and then any upcoming departures. This is always very helpful for the executive team. It's going to highlight if there are any people that will be leaving in the upcoming weeks. So this way, maybe if you're sending an email or walking down the hall, you're going to be able to understand who is leaving. So this information is pretty valuable. And then company turnover for the year. Again, all of these reports, you can break them down if I maybe want to see for last month. Again, so if I'm going to go in and I want to track the terminated employees, so I could do, let's say last year, so there's more information here. I can go in because the system tracks the termination types as well as reasons and then comments. So let's look at voluntary, and then we could go in and select a reason. We'll just say compensation here. Again, you can go in and update this report and then download it as a PNG, include it in a board deck, email it out to whoever's requesting this information. But again, there's a bunch of different reports. If there's ever a report that you're interested in, maybe we don't have in the system, please let us know because we do have the data. It's just a matter of updating it on our end. Tenure, again, same thing. The one report that I always like to show is employees the same position for at least 1 year. So what I would like to do is, if I break this down to 5 years, this is probably an indication that maybe you should reach out to these employees, make sure that they're happy in the role that they are in because they have been in it for 5 years, see if they're interested in certain positions based off of looking at their profile where they've listed out positions they're interested in, and then maybe reach out to their manager too to see if they're up for a promotion. So this can really help with career progression as well. So I've touched on the reports. I'm going to jump into what you can see here, and you saw this on the dashboard, is our performance reviews. So as an employee, these would be the views that I would see for both performance reviews as well as if there were any open surveys that I needed to take. But I'm going to jump down here because you can see in the system management tab, this is going to be where you're able to go in as an admin or based on user permissions. If I'm a manager or depending on how you set that up, they would have visibility to this too. So what we could do here, and based on timing, because I see we're getting close here, I can go in and preview, let's say, this survey, the employee engagement and happiness. So I can scroll through, look at the questions. If I wanted to edit this, I can. This one's already been completed, but it's very easy to go in and create a survey. You can select any type of question, multiple choice, open-ended, star, scale, you name it. So let's say that I wanted to go in and republish this survey. I've gone through, I've created all of the questions. I can decide if I want to send it to the entire company or if I want it to be custom. Again, like you've seen throughout the demo, you can select it by department, location, or specific employees. Then I can select on how long I'd like this to be active to and from. You can include an invitation text and then the type. So what we have is a one-time survey, or you can do more of a set it and forget it, where the system's automatically going to send this survey out for you. And it's going to be reoccurring on these active periods. And then you can, of course, go in and cancel this at any point in time. And then what you're going to be able to do is next, and because I didn't select all of the criteria, it's not going to send out. But I want to show you what the results would look like. So I'm just going to click on this first one here. Again, ignore kind of the title just because I wanted to be able to show a bunch of results. I could break this down. Maybe I just want to look and see what the marketing team responded on their day one experience. I can click over and hover on these pie charts to see what the questions were and what the average responses are for each one of these questions. So again, for those set it and forget it, you're just going to be able to keep going in, clicking the results, and seeing the information update. And you're going to have all this information available to you. I'm going to jump into our performance reviews. So performance reviews are very similar in the sense to surveys on how you create them. You can go in and create any type of template, a variety of questions, question types, open-ended, multiple choice, scale, like I was mentioning. For timing purposes, I'm going to go in and just show you one that's already created. So let's do a preview option here. You can see some of the different questions. You can always use any of the templates that we have for surveys or performance reviews if you need any recommendations. I'm going to go back to the list here. I could edit that one, but I'm going to go in and send this. So let's say I want to send this out to Sam Johnson. And I'm going to pick certain people to go in and provide feedback on Sam. Perfect. And then I can also select if I want this to be a self-evaluation. So this will now get sent to Sam as well. And then I'm going to be brought to this screen again, which looks very similar to the surveys. You can select how long it's active to and from, the invitation text, and again, the same thing here if you want to set it and forget it, if you're using it outside of, just this one time a year performance review. So once you go to next, it's going to then send out. I'm not going to send this one out because I want to show you what reviews look like. So I'm going to show you this one here just because it's the first one. What we've done with our performance reviews is we actually provide you with active periods. So it's a way for you to go in and let's say we've sent 2 performance reviews out and we want to compare the results to see if this person or these individuals have been improving or not. So I'm just going to select these 2 dates because this is the demo environment. It's a weekly 360, so we do have a bunch of results that are coming in. But for here, we can see in core technical competencies, it looks like over time based on, ignore these dates down here, but it looks like Ariana has improved. So what we're looking at from a results perspective right now is an average based on all of the feedback that was received. So if I scroll down here, I'm actually able to see on an individual basis. So let's say I want to break this down and see exactly what Alex had provided feedback on. It's then going to update and give me what his exact responses were for each one of these questions, where the top was that overall average. And then the last piece that I wanted to show you was the importing of data. So I had mentioned we do have an integration with ADP. And we also are allowing you to just do a CSV import. So we also have an import wizard. So what you'd be able to do is once you have that information into the system, and here would be the required fields of information, what I've seen customers do is just use that import wizard. They just import another CSV that they've exported from whatever system's hosting that information. And then our system does all the work for you on the back end. It's going to let you, go in, approve any of the changes. If you've hired a new employee, there's a few different ways that you can do that as well, whether it's through the CSV or you can look at this employees view here. You could add employees on an individual basis. You can import more here, and then you can also go in here and edit current employees. So if I wanted to, let's say I'm promoting this person now, not that position made sense, but we can now upgrade this person and promote them to the architect, and then decide if we want this to be a job change. So it's then tracked within the system and on the reports, as well as display this on the move, which would be displayed on the dashboard. And then at the bottom here, we're also going to track all of our terminated inactive employees, which I showed you on some of the reports there. The last thing that I wanted to show you is on this dashboard view, all of the email notifications that you would receive within the system. We have what we call a weekly digest, and within that weekly digest, this is set up to be weekly. It can go out monthly. It's going to send your employees an email. And within that email, it's basically taking a screen grab of everything that's on the dashboard for the next upcoming week or two. And it's going to show you if there's upcoming birthdays, work anniversaries, everything that you really saw, any events. If this was something that I hadn't already added to my calendar, I could right click and add that to my calendar from here. And then same thing with the news. So all this information is not only available in the system, but it's also hitting your employees via email, but in a consolidated manner, rather than hitting them with welcome this new employee or let's send a happy birthday email out. So that would be the quick overview of our demonstration today. If you have any questions or if you've submitted questions throughout, I will follow up with you personally just due to timing right now. And then I will also send everybody a recording from today's demonstration. But thank you all for your time today, and I will be in touch.